Hi guys, so welcome to another review, and today we're going to do a review of two great machines here. So the one I'm holding, this is HP EliteBook 830 G7, and the one on the table is HP EliteBook 830 G5. So first and foremost, I just want to thank one of our viewers here, one of our subscribers, for handing me this laptop. This is 830 G7. This is a normal or personal laptop, just to do a comparison video with the 830 G5. Without him, without her, I just want him or her to be anonymous. That's why I'm not going to mention him or her in this video. But I just want to thank him so much for gifting us this his personal laptop, so that you can do a review of the two. Just as a disclaimer, I told you the one that I'm holding, this is a HP EliteBook 830 G7, and maybe you can see down here the exact model, HP EliteBook 830 G7. Yeah, it's very clear. If I put this laptop, the HP EliteBook 830 G7, on top of the HP EliteBook 830 G5, you realize that there's this space remaining here, yeah? But on the edge, it's almost the same at the width, yeah? So if I told you these two laptops have similar screen size, you wouldn't believe it, because if you look at them like this, side by side, you realize that the HP EliteBook 830 G5, the one that was on the bottom, HP EliteBook 830 G5, I don't know if it is clear from there, you can see, they are both of the same size. They're both 13.3 inches, the screen size, yeah? So that is just a glimpse of the comparison. Maybe at the time you're going to buy them, or you're going to buy one of them, you realize that one of them is small, and then you might think that the screen size is different, but they're actually the same. The screen size is actually the same. So as usual, let's go through this laptop, the physical outlooks first, before we get into the interior aspects, the properties and the other stuffs. So let's have a look at the casing. So both of them have that aluminium casing. The logo is the same. You can see the logo here and here, similar logos. It's only that this one, we have the frame here, it's a bit different compared to this, but that's an issue, because you can also find a 30G5 with a similar frame. It depends on where you have acquired it. So that's similar. The material is the same, just as I said earlier. We have the magnesium and aluminium alloy cover on both of them, so they're both strong. Actually, this is very strong. You see, even if you try to bend it, it can't bend. Yeah, it's a bit metallic. And this one, for the client, it got a dent here. Something just hit on it there, and it didn't break, but at least it bent. That shows that it's made up of a very strong, at least, if not so strong, but at least strong metal. Yeah, you can see. So at the bottom casing, you can see how the bottom of them are. So one advantage of these over the HP EliteBook 830 G5 is that on the HP EliteBook 830 G7, you have a few screws. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you need to open 5 screws to get to the bottom to do some upgrades on the RAM, on the SSDs, and many stuff. While on the 30G5, you have, let's just count on them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 6. You have small screws here, 7 and 8. So you have 8 screws to open before you get to the motherboard and do some upgrades on them. So let's have a look at the ports as usual. So first and foremost, on the right hand side, see, we have, this is the charging port for both of them. They use the HP blue pin charger. Let me just show you how it looks. So this is how the charger looks like. It's a blue pin charger, yeah, through there and here. And then we have, so you see, charger, HDMI port on the HP EliteBook 830 G7, the smaller one. You have HDMI port, 2 Thunderbolt ports here. Then you have a SIM card slot here. While on the HP EliteBook 830 G5, this one, you have Thunderbolt, only one single Thunderbolt port. You have this docking station here. You have RJ45 port, which is lacking on this one, on the HP EliteBook 830 G7, sorry. HDMI port on both of them. You have USB 3.0 port there, then you have audio jack. So as you can see on this other side, there's no audio jack on this side. Yeah, we have HDMI port. There's no USB port on the HP 830G7. Yes, remember one thing, these laptops are only 2 years apart. 830G5 was released in April 2018, while HP EliteBook 830G7 was released in September 2020. So just 2 years apart. But there's a big difference here at the ports. So if you are going to buy them, maybe you'll need to use USB port. Remember, on this other side, we lack USB port. So let's have a look at the left-hand side. So on the left-hand side, let me just place them as they were initially. So I'll have to bring this to the back. Yeah. So you see, HP EliteBook 830G5. You see we have another USB 3.0 port. Yeah. So cumulatively, the HP EliteBook 830G5, this one, the big one, has 2 ports, 2 USB 3.0 ports. So this is one, and then we have one here. That is on HP EliteBook 830G5. Yeah, one port here, one port here, and then so you have 2 USB 3.0 ports there. You have one USB-C Thunderbolt port, audio jack, and a SIM card slot right there. You see, but now on the HP 830G7, you have the 2 USB ports here instead of one being spread on this side and this side. So you have 2 here, and then the audio jack. So I'm not going to talk about these smart card reader ports because we rarely use them. I don't understand why they keep putting them. Maybe there's some people use them, but most of the people I know, they rarely use them. Then you have the Kingston lock here. Both of them, the Kingston lock is on the left hand side. This is where you can lock the laptop. So you realize the only difference between these two laptops is that the HP 830G7 comes with 2 USB-C ports, but the HP 830G5, the bigger one, comes with a single USB Thunderbolt C port right there. That's the only big difference. They both have the audio jack, but they're just placed on different sides. Yeah. So much to be said. Let's get to the keyboard part. We see this way it gets interesting. It's going to get so interesting. And by the way, if you haven't liked this video up to this point, please leave a like and leave a comment on some of the things that you'd like me to do in the next video, or even if you want me to do a review of another laptop in the next video, please leave your comment. Don't feel shy to comment, yeah, and to add your views. All your views are acceptable. So right there on the table, as you can see, just have a glimpse look. You realize that there's that big margin. See, at this point they're both on the same line, but there's that gap that is left there. And remember, I told you these two laptops, the screen size is the same. Yeah, if you look closely, you realize where the difference comes in. Yeah, have a look, just have a look. As you have a look, as you try to find where the difference comes in the screen, comment in the comment section, leave a like, subscribe to this account. I really appreciate the support you've been giving me so far. So here's the glitch. I'm going to give you the glitch on where the screen size difference comes in at the end of the video, so stick around. So let's have a look at the keyboard layout. So you see at the keyboard layout, you have the logo here, HP EliteBook, yeah, HP EliteBook here. Then both these laptops have speakers that are powered by Bang & Olufsen. So you see, you have Bang & Olufsen speakers here, Bang & Olufsen speakers, yeah. And there's one big difference here for the speakers. You see, the speakers on the HP EliteBook 830G7 are upward firing. The speakers are just aligned here and here for the HP EliteBook 830G7. Well, for the HP EliteBook 830G5, see, there's no space for the speakers. But if you check on the bottom, there's no space for the speakers too. So here they've designed the speakers to be up firing but right on top of the keyboard, as opposed to here where we have the ventilation for speakers on the sides. Yeah. So personally, according to how I tested the two speakers, I find these ones so crispy, louder, and just as effective and more effective than the one on the HP EliteBook 830G5. But that does not mean that in the HP EliteBook A30G5 the speakers are not as good. So much to be said about the speakers. Let's have a look at the keyboard. For both keyboards, they have backlight. As you can see, we have this logo for backlight here. Same to here, we have backlight. It's only that the logo has changed. Now this is how it looks like. So both keyboard are backlit. The trackpad on the HP EliteBook A30G5 has these two click buttons on top, yeah, and the touchpad is equally good. But for the HP EliteBook A30G7, you see, we have no click pads on top, or rather you'll have to use the click pads that are on the bottom. So you have click pads right here. Maybe you can feel them. See, then here. So you have two click pads here. But on these, we have click pads on top, and we also have them at the bottom. Yeah. So according to my experience, I know, I feel having these two click pads is important, because when these ones happen to fail, then you use the lower ones. Yeah, or when the lower ones fail, you use the upper ones. But on this one now, you'll have to use just the lower ones. Or maybe if you're typing, if somebody usually types maybe so fast, you place your hands on the laptop like this, then you type. Then so pressing on this one, changing your hands between the space bar and the click pad is so easy, as compared to this one whereby you have to drop your fingers down right here, because you can't use the top part. So they both have fingerprint sensors. You can see fingerprint sensors, yeah, which are so effective. And on the screen, they have another additional security features. You know, it's getting too much for the exterior. You see? So you have eye scanners for camera. Here too, you also have eye scanners for logging into the laptop. One advantage of the HP EliteBook A30G5 that I have here is we have this camera shutter that you can lock, hide your camera physically. But on the HP EliteBook A30G5 that I have, it's not there. Actually, it's there, sorry. You can see. So you just slide it. That side, then you see the camera is hidden. You slide it this way, the camera is on. So actually, I prefer this one because it's a bit hidden. It's not easy to see as compared to this one, whereby you have bigger bezel. Yeah. So let me just turn them on as usual. We'll turn them on simultaneously. Oh, and one thing I was forgetting on the keyboard of these two machines, you realize that the power button on these two laptops is placed at different at different positions. So on the HP EliteBook A30G5, we have a physical switch, but on the HP EliteBook A30G7, we have the power button just close to the delete button, which is I'm so curious of, because let's assume you're using this laptop, then you want to delete something, then you coincidentally press on the power button, so you'll have to turn it off. So I don't understand why they decided to place it there. But on the HP EliteBook A30G5, that's where we have the power button. So let me just turn it on. Then we have to see the booting time, then we see the internal specs, and I'll show you the difference, where the difference comes in the screen size. So as usual, we count. So we go, turn them on, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 9 seconds, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Unfortunately, it's getting to updating, but it's on. Yeah, so this took around 20 minutes. Let's assume because it was updating, and this one just took 9 seconds to turn on. So it was a bit faster as compared to the HP EliteBook A30G7. Remember, I told you these two laptops are just 2 years apart. This is from 2020, and this is from 2018, this is from 2020. So they're both on. Let's just have a look at the properties. And here we have unfair comparison. That's why it was getting too long to come to the comparison, because the HP EliteBook A30G7 that I have is Core i7. As you can see here, it's Core i7 10th generation. Yeah, and then the HP EliteBook A30G5 here is a Core i5 8th generation. So they're just 2 generations apart. Luckily enough, we are done with the updating on the HP EliteBook A30G7. And then one thing here on the screens, tilting, you realize for the HP EliteBook 830 G5, you can tilt it up to, it's almost 180, just slightly 180, similar to the HP EliteBook 830 G5. But now, this is where it gets messy, because you see here there's something that happens. Yeah, it was supposed to go up to 180, but it can't. Yeah, and when you place it on the table, there's that lifting that occurs on the table, see? So it's not that effective. I don't know why they decided to place it like that, as compared to the HP EliteBook 830 G5, whereby even if it flips, it gets to the maximum point and it can't go through there, and it can't uplift itself from the table, so it's that much better. So let's have a look at the properties. As usual, I usually recommend, if you want to see the properties of your laptop that you're buying, you have to use Control Shift Escape right there, Control Shift Escape, so that you see all the properties. Yeah, storage, you see if your laptop is upgradable, you can upgrade the RAM, and so many stuff. So I'll just get to the Task Manager, more details, then performance. At the Task Manager, get the performance. So I have the performance of that on there. I have the performance on this one here. I just have to reduce the brightness so that it doesn't interfere with it. I know the review is getting so much longer than expected, but at least it's a detailed review, so that when you're acquiring this machine, you'll know what to look at, and maybe if it's longer than expected, can add in the comment section, so that at least I'll do something shorter next time. So right there we go, they're both on. Let's just have a look at yes, so performance is right there. Is the performance tab? Yeah, so performance for the HP EliteBook 830 G5. Let's have a look. Remember I told you it's a Core i5, yeah? It's Core i5 8th generation, can see from there. The base speed is 1.6 gigahertz. Yeah, so you see base speed is 1.5 gigahertz, and it comes with 4 cores and 8 logical processors. Yeah, so the memory on this one is 8 GB of RAM. You see, we have 8 GB of RAM. Sorry about the camera. So you have 8 GB of RAM right there, with a speed of 24 megahertz. So 8 GB of RAM, and then the number of slots used. You have one slot used out of 2. So this machine can add 2 GB, 2 RAM, 8 GB each. That is 8, 8, 16, or 16 times 2. That is 32, or 16, or 32 GB times 2. That is 64 GB. So it can handle a maximum RAM of 64 GB. Then for the SSD, they both come with 256 GB SSD, so that's not as important. Wi-Fi, the GPU on this HP EliteBook 830 G5. So we have Intel Ultra HD 620 GPU. While on the HP EliteBook 830 G7, you see, this the base speed is 2.3 gigahertz. Remember, this is Core i7, so it's a bit higher than the i5, which had 1.8 gigahertz. We have 4 cores, 8 logical processors. So in terms of number of CPUs and processors, they have similar amount of CPUs and processors, despite them being 2 generations apart. So this is 8th gen, this is 10th gen, but they have the same number of processors and CPUs. And the memory on this one too, memory installed is 8 GB of RAM. Actually on this one we have, let's just get to, it currently has 12 GB of RAM. So meaning we have 8 GB and 4 GB of RAM on this machine, but it can support up to a maximum of 64 GB, because we have 2 slots here, you can see. Yeah, we have 2 slots. Sorry, I made a mistake here. We have the RAM on this is 16 GB, you can see from here it's 16 GB, and only a single slot is in use, so meaning it has 16 GB. You can add another 16 GB to make it 64 GB, 32 GB, 64 GB, whatever you're liking, but the maximum it can hold is 64 GB of RAM. Let's have a look at the graphic, the GPU. So on here we have the Intel Ultra HD graphics, as compared to here where we have the Intel Ultra HD 620 graphics. much said about between the two laptops. These laptops, remember, they can handle a daily day-to-day task. You can do programming on this laptop very effectively because the batteries on this machine last about 8 hours on normal daily use and 4 hours on heavy use now. You can do video editing on them because they have good graphic cards. They have good number of CPUs that is perfect for rendering at high speeds. And just before I finish, let's have a look at the display resolution because they have Full HD IPS panel screens. So let's just have a comparison of the display resolutions. We see where there's a difference. So as usual, if you want to check on the resolution, just right click on the display, the screen here. So this is HP EliteBook A30G5. Come to the display settings right there. Then is where we check the display. So you see we have 1920 by 1080, that is Full HD panel, and remember it's an IPS panel. And this laptop also comes with a 30G5 has that Sure View. Yeah, Sure View is whereby you can use your laptop in a private place without people on your side seeing what you're doing. So let's just try and enable it. We see what happens. So I don't know if it's going to work on this, but sorry. So you see I've enabled Sure View, and you realize something that even you, at the top where the camera is, you can't see what's happening. If I place it on sideways, you see it's a bit darker. This side is a bit darker, but if I place it this way, you see. So that's the function of the Sure View. Yeah, and if I just place it normal now, you see, you can see on the sides. Yeah, that's the advantage of these. Unfortunately, on the HP A30G7 that I have doesn't have the Sure View function. Yeah, it's not there. But there are some version that has the Sure View. So unfortunately, the one that I have, it didn't have the Sure View. So let's have a look at the screen resolution on this. So just come as usual to the display settings. Then get to the display. So you see, it's 1920 by 1080. So they're both Full HD 1080 IPS screen panels. Almost similar things. They both have HDR capabilities. There's so many stuffs, but basically they're similar because we're just doing a comparison. Yeah, there's no big difference. So everything is the same there. Finally, about the screen size that we've talked about for so long, so many parts of the point of the video, the screen size are the same, but the difference now here is the bezel. Yeah, see the bezel. So if I place it once again like this, you realize that the bezel on the HP 830G5, the bezel is a bit, yeah, it's a bit thicker. This one is a bit thinner. So you see, just compare this point and this point, see the bezels. That's why this screen can fit, this screen can fit in this and this screen can fit in this because they're of similar size. It's only the bezel that brings about the difference. So they decided to reduce the materials on the bezels to make it a bit smaller and portable. That's why it's a bit small in size, but the screen size is the same and everything is the same. Yeah. Thank you for sticking around up to that point. I really appreciate the support that you've been giving me. Sorry. And if any one of you wants me to review his or his personal laptop or a laptop that you're planning to buy, kindly let me know in the comment section. I really appreciate your support so far. I just have to sign out as usual by shutting them down with the normal shortcut. And there they go. They're both off. See you next time on another review like this one. I really appreciate your support, guys. Thank you so much. Bye bye.